Welcome to the training of the Rural Innovation Fund Program, Disaster Recovery Grant Reporting, or DRGR, training number 1, sponsored by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, Office of Community Planning and Development, CPD, Office of Community Renewal, OCR. I'm Judy Mize, a desk officer in the Office of Community Renewal at HUD, and today I am joined by my colleagues in OCR. We want to thank you for your participation today. OCR will be conducting several trainings for DRGR reporting. This training is for the Indian Housing Programs, Office of Native American Programs, or ONAP, Community Planning and Development, CPD representatives, and the Rural Innovation Fund grantees. A big congratulations on receiving your designations, and we're so excited to be working with all of you. HUD is here to assist you in moving forward with your grant fund obligation. In Section 1, Robert Waters and I will provide a general overview of the DRGR system while describing the key roles and responsibilities for OCR, HUD CPD field offices, ONAP, and grantees, such as how to gain access to DRGR, submitting an action plan for review, how to conduct the action plan review, what is a DRGR module, certifying users in DRGR, and assigning users to a grant. OCR will also provide an overview of the action plan so that the grantees can begin entering their activities, budgets, such as admin budgets exceeding the 10% cap, leverage partners and commitments, but only after DRGR access has been granted. Be sure the grantee's organization has completed the grantee new user request form, which was sent to you in earlier emails, and also you as grantees should consult your assigned HUD field office contact or any questions you may have in getting access to DRGR. HUD staff, please stay in touch with your grantee's point of contact to ensure they have access to DRGR. This is also very crucial to keeping the contact info up to date on the HUD SharePoint, and so we can get them up and running. In Section 2, Lisa Peoples will cover setting up the action plan module, entering key data, and the action plan review process. In Section 3, Erin Taylor will discuss how to transform the grantee's application into the best action plans, and he's providing an example of creating action plans for a single-purpose grant with a revolving loan fund for housing rehab, and that will show you the significance of organizing the groupings of activities into projects. HUD has provided a blank template or table as shown in slide number 37 to assist you prior to the grantees entering the action plans. OCR would recommend that the grantees utilize this template titled Project-Activity Organization, again slide number 37, which requires the grantee to enter and organize fields such as project title, budget, activity category, activity type, responsible organization, and leverage before creating the action plans in DRGR. Today's session is not a basic training on entering your data, but rather this is an overview of the process. For more detailed instructions on entering data, you may refer to the SharePoint links below. You as grantees will be using DRGR to initiate your payment requests. In the past, you may have worked with paper vouchers and the telephone voice response system for locks, but now it will be easier to create drawdowns in DRGR based on your action plan documents, which in turn will create your semi-annual reports. OCR has been successful working with the Disaster Recovery CDBG team to tailor a reporting system especially for the RIF program. This system will allow for drawdowns, reporting, tracking reviews, editing the narratives, projects and activities, and performance measures. It's a one-shop for all. Now let's look at accessing the DRGR system. If you have access, go to the DRGR link, or you may Google it by typing DRGR and select the first link. This will take you to HUD's Community Planning and Development website. Under the DRGR login, you will see a red box, Access the DRGR system. Click on that. This will take you to the DRGR login page as shown in the red box, where you will enter your username and password. Next, you will note a disclaimer. Select an option below. You must accept the statement as shown in the red box on data collection to go forward. Now, we are looking at the basic layout or screenshot that you will see after you go into DRGR. At the top of the screen, I want you to note 3 places or modules. The module which you are viewing will always be highlighted. Look at the highlighted tannish yellow color box under the main navigation bar. In this case, the action plans or module is highlighted. Below that, the module title will display. Below the module title, the screen title will indicate which action plan section you're viewing. In this case, it says, View all action plans. Each module has different sections. Screens can be selected on the left-hand side of your screen in the module navigation menu. This menu is going to vary depending on your user access rights. In other words, the grantees menu will differ than the HUD staff's menu. So to select a screen, select from the module navigation menu on the left-hand side. Let's see what we have. Action plans, projects, and utilities. Please note under utilities is print page, profile, help index, logout, and reports. Next to the screen title is a circled red help ? Page help. So you will note there are 2 places for help index under utilities on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, page help next to view all action plans. Grantees, I have 2 important reminders for you. Please remember log out when your session is completed. Secondly, never, 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 ever hit the backspace button. That will not only log you out, but it will take additional time, perhaps up to a half hour, before you can log back in again. So remember not to use the backspace button at any time. I want to thank you again, and now we will hear from my colleague Robert Waters on the key roles and responsibilities for RIF users.
Hi, I'm Robert Waters in the Office of Community Renewal. I'll begin by discussing the key roles and responsibilities for RIF participants. There are 3 key roles in administering the program. I will briefly discuss the roles and responsibilities of the Office of Community Renewal, the Field Office, and the grantees. OCR has developed a summary document that includes a complete list of roles and responsibilities. Grantees that wish to see this document can contact their assigned field contact for details. Key roles and responsibilities of RIF grantees. The key roles and responsibilities of the RIF grantees begins with the signing and submitting of their grant agreements. They must also ensure that their projects meet Part 50 environmental assessment requirements. This is vital because OCR will not unblock funds unless the field office confirms the process is complete. Grantees must work with field staff to gain access to DRGR and must complete the new user request form. The grantee administrators must obtain access to DRGR and certify other users within the system. The grantee administrators must also receive certification from their CPD rep or ONAP GMS. Once DRGR access is obtained, the grantee must complete their action plans. GMSs and CPD reps will serve as the primary contacts for RIF grantees. Field staff are responsible for providing guidance to grantees and assist with gaining access to DRGR. Field office staff is responsible for certifying and recertifying grantee administrators and must work with grantees by helping them complete their action plans. GMSs and CPD reps are also responsible for the initial action plan review and must complete the action plan review checklist before submitting it to OCR. The checklist is available on HUD's SharePoint site, and the direct link is provided to the field staff. OCR's responsibilities include providing training and guidance to RIF program participants. This guidance includes providing technical assistance for basic DRGR issues and program policies. OCR will conduct final action plan reviews after the signed checklist is received from the CPD reps and ONAP GMSs. OCR is responsible for processing and reviewing amendment requests as well. This flowchart illustrates the key steps in gaining access to the DRGR system. After the grantees receive the DRGR new user account form from their assigned field staff, they must complete the process of assigning grantee roles. After the request form is completed, the grantee must email the form to their CPD rep or GMS for review. Once the form is checked for accuracy, the field office contact sends the form to drgr_help@hud.gov. The DRGR staff then enters the grantee in the system and sends a confirmation email. It is important at this time that the grantee admin emails their CPD rep or ONAP GMS to request certification and notify them that they've received the confirmation email. After the HUD contact certifies the grantee administrator, they can enter the DRGR system and certify other grantee users. The grantee can then move on to the process of entering their action plan. The action plan approval process begins with the creation of the grantee action plan in the DRGR system. Once it has been submitted, the field office reviews the entries using the provided review checklist. A rejected action plan, of course, goes back to the grantee for edits. If the action plan is approved, the field office signs the checklist and sends it to the OCR. If the action plan is approved, the field office signs the checklist and sends it to OCR for review. After OCR reviews the checklist for accuracy, funds will then be unblocked. DRGR consists of 5 basic modules. The admin module allows for the certification of users and provides a means to track TA and monitoring events. The action plan module is where grantees lay out their projects, activities, and budgets. This is essentially the module where progress can be recorded and tracked. The drawdown module is used to obligate funds as well as create, approve, and edit vouchers. The QPR module is used to track grantee progress and expenditures. DRGR was initially designed for a program that mandates quarterly reports. The Rural Innovation Fund program participants will utilize this section for our semi-annual reporting requirements. The Reports module is an easy-to-use tool for looking at financial, programmatic, and user account information that can be exported into either PDF or Excel format. This tool will be helpful when researching specific information without having to sift through an entire semi-annual report. The main functions of the admin module include managing and tracking, monitoring, auditing, and TA events, as well as assigning and certifying field office and grantee users. CPD reps and ONAP GMSs can certify grantee administrators. Grantee administrators can certify other grantee users, and every user will be able to view any audit or monitoring finding loaded into the system. HUD roles include HHQ admin, a regular HUD user, and HUD view-only users. You also have HUD approved drawdown role and HUD rep GMS assigned to a grant. Field managers are responsible for user certifications. With Release 6.5, DRGR has added a user certification functionality. DRGR is now required to include certification and recertification of each DRGR user by higher level users in the DRGR system. Recertification takes place every 6 months, and if a user is not recertified after the expiration period, the user will not be able to access any part of the DRGR system. When such users log in, they will receive a message that their certification has expired. If a user receives this message, refer back to this flowchart and find the individual who is required for recertifying the user. For most grantee users, this will be their grantee admin user. To accomplish the certifications, we will use the following process involving HUD and grantee staff. The slide depicts the hierarchy of user certifications. HUD HQ staff will assign CPD field managers to field offices. The CPD field managers will then certify the HUD field staff in their offices, including the CPD representatives and ONAP GMSs for each grant in the system. CPD representatives and ONAP GMSs will then certify the identity of the authorized grantee contact, which may be populated from the grant agreement in LOCKSS, and the grantee contact will be contacted by email to certify their DRGR grantee system administrators. This is the one part of the process that is done outside of the DRGR system. Grantee administrators will then be able to certify and recertify the remaining users in DRGR using a screen much like the one they use to authorize each user's access by grant. DRGR users must be recertified every 6 months. The status of each grantee user account that has been established can be monitored and maintained in this section. To certify grantee users, grantee administrators will choose from the list of individuals from their organization that have completed and submitted the DRGR user request forms. Inactivated, expiring, and certified user accounts are displayed in 3 sections. Users must first be activated, then certified by highlighting the name and clicking the appropriate buttons. Users can also be deactivated, prohibiting them access to the system. This screenshot depicts the grantee admin function of assigning grantee users to a fictional grant. Grantee organizations may be awardees of multiple HUD grants in DRGR. Grantee administrators have the ability to assign and remove users from each grant that they have linked in the system. Available users include the users in the grantee organization that have completed the DRGR certification process. In order to gain access to a RIF grant in DRGR, Grantee users must be assigned by the grantee admin after they have been certified. Grantees utilize the Action Plan module to enter, edit, and modify their action plan by laying out their projects and activities. Grantee users can also search and add responsible organizations. Proper setup of the action plan is key to reporting accurately in DRGR and drawing down funds correctly. The action plan is also key to setting up your template for semi-annual reports. The field office will use this section for the action plan review and approval process. Grantees will use the drawdown module to request and review drawdowns. Grantee admin users will use this module to approve, override, or block drawdowns for an activity. The HUD headquarters and field office staff will utilize this module to review all drawdown activity. As I mentioned earlier, grantees will use the QPR module to enter, edit, and modify semi-annual reports. Field office staff will use this module to review, approve of report submittals. This module will be covered in more detail in additional training sessions. Clicking on the Reports module tab will open a new window outside of the DRGR system. 3 types of grantee data reports can be obtained from this feature: admin, financial, and performance. As I stated earlier, this tool can be used to produce reports by isolating data on a specific subject for analysis or documentation.
My name is Lisa Peoples. I'm a desk officer in the Office of Community Renewal. In this Module 2, we will address action plans. I will discuss how to create an action plan, which will include the main functions and organization of the action plan, along with the key data that should be inserted into the action plan. I'll conclude with the flow chart that diagrams the action plan review process. The next slide is the action plan module keys. First of all, the action plan is absolutely everything in the Disaster Recovery Grant Reporting Program. And the accuracy of the action plan is key. Everything is built around the action plan, which include drawdowns of funds, semi-annual reports, the budget, and performance measurements. Therefore, once you get the action plan right, all the other elements will fall into place. It is important to remember that the action plan is divided into a 2-tier hierarchy of projects and activities. It is suggested to use Notepad to transport text that will be included in the action plan. The action plan is the base of operations in DRGR. Thus, no action without the action plan. The next slide is the action plan module main functions, which are centered around adding and editing narrative from the original Rural Innovation Fund application. The application is key because you will take the information from the application and insert it into the action plan. Think of the action plan as a work in progress. The action plan is always changing, and you are constantly improving and updating the information in the action plan. You will need to include the responsible organizations in the action plan. The responsible organization can be the grantee or the various partners in the project. You will be adding and editing information on projects and activities and proposed performance measurements. The next slide is the action plan module main function. Here, adding and editing narrative components based on the approved RIF application is key. This screen is what it looks like in DRGR, narrative entries. You would want to transport the information from the application to insert it here in the first item, capacity of the applicant and relevant organizational experience, and second, in the need and extent of the problem. The next slide is the Add and Edit Responsible Organizations. The responsible organization is who is actually responsible for the task at hand. Either the grantee or the partner organization is what is expected at this time. This slide is what it looks like in DRGR, adding a responsible organization. It is important to put the contact information of the responsible organization as well as the DUNS number. All responsible organizations need a DUNS number, so please be sure to include the DUNS number. The next slide, Action Plan Module Main Function, you will add and edit information on projects and activities. This slide addresses projects and activities, which are a two-tier hierarchy. It is important to set up your projects and activities in your action plan. The first thing to do is to analyze your project and enter that first. After analyzing the projects, enter your activities second. And the activities should be grouped according to geographical proximity or population served, or a variety of categories or criteria that you think is important to your project. Also, you will need to identify the budget for both the project and the activity. At the bottom of the slide is the organizational pattern. First the project, then the activities that make up the project. Project 2, and then the activities that make up that particular project. The next slide, organizing activities into RIF activity types. There are 12 RIF activity types, and these are the same 12 activities that were eligible activities under the RIF program. It is important to select an activity type that links to a creative activity to a unique series of performance measurements. The RIF DRG activity type slide is very important because you have to categorize your activities. You have an activity category as well as an activity type. Listed on the left-hand side of the slide are the various activity categories: administration, technical assistance, and planning. And then on the other side, you have activity type: RIF administration, RIF technical assistance. Every action plan will have an administrative function. Therefore, every activity plan will have to have an administration category. This next slide, the project activity organizational table, is very key. It is important to take the information from the application and insert it into this organizational table. You have project ID, and also you have activity ID. You have project title, and you have activity title. Project budget, then you have activity budget. And as I mentioned earlier, the activity category and the activity type are very important, and then the responsible organization has to be added. And on the far right, you have the leverage category, which is a key component of the application. The next slide is the project activity organization example, Mountain Lake. This slide is completely filled in with information that is applicable to the application, and this information came directly from the application. As you see, you have the project ID, your activity ID, project title, activity title. All these areas are taken directly from the application. The next slide, the key data entry for DRGR projects and activities. This is the words to the actual slide that you previously saw. As I discussed, ID number, which is for project and activity. The title is for project and activity. The next slide is what it looks like in DRGR projects. If you look to your left, we've highlighted the project box. And then to your right, you have the financial information concerning a project. It is important to put a description of the project. The next slide is what it looks like in DRGR to add an activity. The activities are significant and you'll have to add them as they're being done to make your drawdowns. This slide is what it looks like in the DRGR to add an activity to a project. It is important to add activities and to keep the activities current. The next slide is what it looks like in DRGR adding an activity type. As you see in the top right corner, there are the various activities. There are 12 activity types that are significant that must be included in the action plan. Also, you want to look at the activity status. And then thirdly, you want to look at the environmental assessment. These areas must be completed. The next slide is what it looks like in DRGR adding an activity that addresses performance measurements. On the left-hand side of the screen, you see proposed accomplishments. It is important to complete this section. Number of properties, proposed total, dollar of leverage funds expended to nonprofit. Filling out this information is key. As we go to the right side of the slide, the number of households receiving direct financial aid, number of jobs created, number of green buildings or energy costs created, performance measures talking about number of households served. All this information is key. The next slide is the action plan module main function. And here we're going to talk about adding and editing proposed performance measurements. The next slide, performance measurements in DRGR. When I think of performance measurements, I immediately think of the logic model and taking the items in the logic model and inserting them into the action plan. However, every activity type will not be applicable to your project. Even if the activity is not applicable to your project, it is important to put a 0 as a placeholder there, because you can at a later time go back and add something if you need it, if you do happen to find a performance measure that relates to that activity. And remember that there are 12 RIF activity types, and you want to include that in this portion of the action plan. If you have an activity that's not applicable, just put a 0 there as a placeholder. The next slide is the action plan approval process. My colleague, Robert Waters, has talked about this slide, but this is an important slide that you can always refer back to in understanding the action plan process. That concludes this section. I will turn it over to my colleague, Aaron Taylor now.
And now we're moving on to Section 3, converting a RIF application to a DRGR action plan. Converting a RIF application to a DRGR action plan. There are 2 reference documents available to grantees. Grantees can get these documents through their field office contact in HUD, and the field office contact has been given access to the documents through the Office of Community Renewal here at HUD headquarters. These documents show the conversion process from a Rural Innovation Fund application to a DRGR action plan for 2 fictional grantees that were developed by the Office of Community Renewal. Sample A is a Mountain Lake Partners Incorporated grantee, and they have a $300,000 Rural Innovation Fund grant award. And Sample B is CE Tribe, and they have an $800,000 Rural Innovation Fund grant award. DRGR is a new program to the Rural Innovation Fund program and to many of the grantees that are part of this program. So we wanted to provide samples to show how the application is converted into a DRGR action plan to further assist and guide and train the grantees that are a part of this Rural Innovation Fund program. This section of the live meeting will go through the Mountain Lake example in more detail to show clearly the steps that are involved in this process of converting an application to a DRGR action plan. To give some background on the Mountain Lake fictional grantee that was created by the Office of Community Renewal, the grantee is named Mountain Lake Partners Incorporated. Their grant project is called Mountain Lake Energy Plus. They received a grant award in Category 1 under the Single Purpose Grant type with an overall award of $300,000. There's more reference material and application narrative descriptions in the sample materials grantees can access through their HUD field contact. To give an idea of the projects that are going to be handled by Mountain Lake under this fictional grant, Mountain Lake is going to be doing housing rehab, which will come out of a revolving loan fund. This housing rehab is going to be focused on energy efficiency upgrades, and the upgrades are going to be supported by rebates coming from the partner Mountain Lake Energy Co-op, and these rebates will assist the homeowners in paying back the loans that were given for the housing rehab, and these paybacks will form the cycle of the revolving loan fund, so the revolving loan fund can go on to support further housing rehab efforts. Mountain Lake is also going to be involved in job training efforts that are going to give the workers in this region the skills to do the energy efficiency upgrades. It's also going to provide business and technical assistance to educate existing businesses, and there's going to be scholarships provided to educate a select group of existing residents on solar energy and new business development. And with those people that are receiving the scholarships, they're going to have the opportunity to get a business startup loan and create a new renewable energy business in the service area of this grant. In their grant application, Mountain Lake made reference to a study done for solar capacity in the region. They found that their service area that's being helped by this grant had a high capacity for solar energy, and therefore they wanted to go ahead and take advantage of this solar energy capacity in their region by creating a business that would help existing businesses in the service area and homeowners to start implementing solar energy options. Mountain Lake has 3 leverage partners, and they are Mountain Lake Energy Electric Co-op, Mountain Lake Job Training Program, and Mountain Area Community College. Overall, they're committing $135,000 in leverage funds, and this, with the $300,000 grant award, gives a total project budget of $435,000. From the application, we formed a fictional Mountain Lake budget worksheet. This budget worksheet can be seen in column 1. You see the grant dollars and the line items in which the grant dollars are being attributed. And in column 7, you see the leverage funds and the line items in which the leverage funds are being attributed. In the lower right-hand corner, you can see the total budget, which is a combination of the grant funds and the committed leverage dollars. This is a screenshot of the logic model that was prepared for this Mountain Lake applicant. Further information on the logic model and more detailed data is available in the sample materials that grantees can access through their HUD field contact. And this performance data was used to populate the projected performance measures in the DRGR action plan. When you move into DRGR, it's important to identify the responsible organizations who will be leading and managing the activities that are taking place under the grant. Inside of DRGR, we showed in section 2 how you go under the action plan module and choose the Add Responsible Organizations link. For this fictional grantee, there are 4 responsible organizations: Mountain Lake Partners, the Mountain Lake Electric Co-op, Mountain Lake Job Training Program, and Mountain Area Community College. You can see their committed leverage as we talked about in the previous slide, and this leverage will be attributed at the activity level. As we talked about in section 2, there's a two-tier hierarchy in DRGR. Mountain Lake has 3 projects that were created for their DRGR action plan, and in the next section we'll talk about the activities that are inside of these projects. These 3 proposed projects were given the project IDs 001 through 003, and they have individual project budgets that total up to the total Royal Innovation Fund grant award of $300,000. In Project 001, this consists of the housing rehab and the creation of the revolving loan fund for energy efficiency housing rehabilitations. The total project budget attributed to the activities in this project is $100,000. This $100,000 came from line item H in the application budget worksheet. Originally in the application there was $150,000 attributed to this line item, and $100,000 of that is being put towards Project 001 to accomplish the housing rehab and revolving loan fund activities. Mountain Lake Project 002 in the DRGR action plan is fully focused on admin activities. To create this $25,000 project budget, going back to the application budget worksheet, contributions were taken from line items A, B, C, and E for a total of $25,000 in the project budget in the DRGR action plan. Going back to the application budget worksheet, after the line item contributions, it was found that line items A, B, C, and E had a total of $45,000 left over, which we'll see being attributed to Mountain Lake Project 003. Here, highlighted in the red square and the yellow shading, are the line items from the application budget worksheet that had contributed to the $25,000 budget that was set for the admin activities in the Mountain Lake DRGR action plan. I wanted to give a quick note on admin charges. The Rural Innovation Fund program limits admin costs to 10%. Several grantee applications had admin cost in their budget worksheets that exceeded 10%, so it's going to be critical when you do this process of converting the application to the action plan to look at the admin cost and clarify that these truly are admin costs. You need to differentiate service or activity delivery cost and pull them out of the admin so you're not exceeding the 10% threshold. Guidance on admin costs can be found in the activity types and definition document that grantees can get from their CPD rep or ONAP GMS. Additional guidance is going to be released by OCR in the form of an admin's cost document, and this again can be accessed through your CPD rep or ONAP GMS or your HUD field contact. The final project proposed for Mountain Lake in their DRGR action plan is 003. This includes all the job training, education, business assistance, and technical assistance activities that were explained during the background of the Mountain Lake application. You can see the breakout in more detail in the Mountain Lake sample materials that you can get from your HUD field contact. So that would be your CPD rep or your ONAP management specialist. Here you can see in the previous projects the money that was left over from the budget line item contributions. So in Project 001 there was $50,000 left over. In Project 002 there was $45,000 left over. Then in the last column, Project 003, you can see all the line item contributions from the application budget worksheet that were used to form a total project budget of $175,000. And here in the red squares with the yellow shading, again you can see the line item contributions that were taken from the application budget worksheet and used to form the Project 003 Mountain Lake DRGR action plan components. When we look further and add activities into this discussion of projects, we can see that 001 Project 001 has one activity, Project 002 has one activity, and Project 003 has 5 activities inside of the DRGR action plan. This table was discussed first in Section 2, and a template of this table that's completely blanked out is available to grantees through their HUD field contact. This table is a great way to lay out the key projects and activities in your DRGR action plan prior to moving into DRGR and actually entering in the data. Here you can specifically see laid out all the projects, the activities, the responsible organizations, any identification numbers, any titles, and more specifically the budget numbers. And you can look down the column for the project budget and see that the total for all 3 projects equals the grant award of $300,000, and the total for all 7 activities equals the grant award of $300,000. In the last column, you can see the distribution of the leverage, and again, leverage is attributed to the activity level. So when you create an activity under a project, that's where you will add the leverage in. And again, the leverage equals the total commitment from the application, which was $135,000. To give an activity example, we're going to look at the RIF activity 01. This is in project ID 001, and it's titled Revolving Loan Fund for Housing Rehab. In Section 2, we went over the types of data entry you would have to do when you added an activity and showed the screenshots for the Add Activity Page 1 and Add Activity Page 2 data. Here we do a specific breakdown from the Mountain Lake example, showing the specific data entry fields for the Add Activity Page 1 screen and the inputs for this example that would go in order to represent the Mountain Lake activity RIF 01. As we go down the list, the first component is the activity type. The Office of Community Renewal created 12 activity types to organize all the eligible activities in the Rural Innovation Fund program inside of the DRGR system. This Housing Rehab Revolving Loan Fund activity falls under the rehabilitation and reconstruction of residential structures. The national objective for activities is always going to be RIF. We assigned activity number 01. The activity title is Revolving Loan Fund for Housing Rehab. The activity status is planned. The environmental status is completed. Other options here include underway and exempt. The total budget of the program funds represents the amount of the grant award that's being attributed to this activity, and that is $100,000. The identification of partner contributions indicates the leverage that's being committed to this project, and that's $100,000 as well. The project projected start date is January 15th, 2013, and the projected end date is 12/31/2013. For the Add Activity Page 2 data entry components, it starts with identifying the responsible organization, which was the applicant and lead grantee Mountain Lake. Performance measure data entry will be shown on the next page. The location description is a short narrative about where the project is going to be taking place, and the activity description is again a short narrative summarizing what's happening in the activity. Finally, the total budget, it's a summation of the total budget of program funds, so the amount of grant dollars that are going towards the activity, and the amount of leverage funds, which are classified as other funds that are going to the activity. In this case, there's $100,000 from each pot for a total activity budget of $200,000. As we talked about on the previous slide, this screen shows the projected performance measures for the Mountain Lake activity example, RIF 01. These projected performance measures were taken from the HUD logic model submitted with the application from Mountain Lake, but they also could come from the application narrative. In some cases, the projected performance measures didn't fit into the standardized categories of the logic model, so it's pertinent to use both the narrative and the logic model to populate the projected performance measures in the DRGR action plan. And in some cases, the performance measures have a low to moderate income breakout. Specifics on how to calculate and determine the low to moderate income people in your service area have been provided through the sample materials with a link to HUD's PD&R site, which describes the process for calculating low to moderate income populations. On average, low to mod callouts are required for about 30% of the performance measures per activity type. And again, as a reminder, as we discussed in Section 2, performance measures are unique to the DRGR activity type. So when you create a new activity and select the activity type, there will be a unique set of performance measures that will be required for that activity under that activity type. I wanted to thank everyone for joining us today on the Rural Innovation Fund Training 1 session for DRGR. If grantees have questions about the Rural Innovation Fund program or DRGR, they should direct them to their HUD CPD or ONAP contact. And if there are general Rural Innovation Fund program questions, they may be sent to the RIF response@hud.gov email. Thank you again.